Horns up and welcome to a brand new episode of Headbanger's Kitchen. My name is Sahil. I'm a death metal musician who does have a softer side.
A dream does often belong to one.
I'm also the author of the recipe book Keto Life, out now worldwide. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my Keto For Beginners series where I tell you what to eat, how to eat and when to eat on the keto diet. Now folks, if you haven't seen the videos for week 1 and week 2, please click here on the I button and watch those first before watching this video. Now as always on this series, I will give you a full day keto meal plan of breakfast, lunch, a small snack and dinner. And you are going to eat this for 7 days straight. Yes, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's not going to be easy, but you can do it because I believe in you. Anyway, before we get into the video, I just have one thing to tell you this time. Please go and read the blog post on headbangerskitchen.com after you are done watching this video. I'll leave a direct link in the video description box just below this video. And the reason I keep asking you to do that is because I put a shopping list on the blog post. I give you all the substitutions that you need. So if you don't eat a certain meat or if you are a vegetarian, I give you all those options in the blog post because it's just too much jibber jabber for a video. And speaking of jibber jabber, well, enough jibber jabber, let's get on with the meal plan. So what's on the menu for this week's meal plan? Well, for breakfast you're going to have one of my personal favorites, a masala omelette. And this is an Indian style omelette with some spices, some coriander, some red onion, and it's delicious. So I'm going to start by cracking 3 whole eggs into a bowl. And please don't feel any compulsion to make this recipe with 3 eggs. You can use 1 egg, 2 eggs, even 6 eggs. It all depends on your appetite. Now I'm going to season the eggs with some salt, some turmeric powder, some Kashmiri red chili powder. Add in about a tablespoon of heavy whipping cream. In goes 15 grams of chopped red onion and a little bit of coriander. And then ladies and gentlemen, just beat it. Dum 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 patum patu da do do da do da pa. Anyway, once your eggs are beaten, it's time to move on. So I'm going to get my non-stick pan on the stove and I'm going to heat up a generous amount of ghee. Now ghee is basically clarified butter and it's something that has been used regularly in Indian cooking. But of course now on keto everyone knows what ghee is. Anyway, once the ghee has melted and the pan is nice and hot, you're going to pour in the beaten eggs. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grate in some cheddar cheese. Now once again, like with most of my recipes, you can use any cheese that you like. But you want to try and get a good quality cheese, one that is made from actual milk of some sort. Anyway, once you've grated that cheese in, there's nothing left to do but allow the eggs to cook. Now one of my tricks when cooking big omelettes like this, especially with 2 or more eggs, is to cover the pan with a lid and sort of create a steam chamber there which cooks the top of the egg. So when you flip it or fold it, it does not spill all over the place. Anyway, cook your eggs to your liking. Once mine has reached the point where I'm quite happy with it, I'm going to fold the egg. And man, it already looks like a little more than I can eat. So maybe I should do this with 2 eggs next time. Anyway, I'm going to flip the egg over, cook it for just a second or 2 more. Well, actually for about 10 seconds more. And then ladies and gentlemen, my masala omelette is ready. And I'm going to throw in a little bit of lettuce and some cherry tomatoes and some basil because I need to make this look very pretty for the photographs. But I'm not going to eat any of that stuff. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, your masala omelette is ready. So that was breakfast. And for lunch, you're going to have some Mexican food. Well, not authentic Mexican food, but we're doing a version of chili con carne, which I'm going to give a little bit of a Headbanger's Kitchen twist to, and you're going to have it with some avocado and some sour cream. So to make my chili, I'm going to get my frying pan on the stove and I'm going to heat up about a tablespoon of avocado oil. Into the avocado oil, I'm going to add a tablespoon of butter. And then I'm just going to heat it up and let that butter melt. Once the butter has melted, I'm going to add in about 100 grams of sliced red onions. Now normally I would dice the onions for this recipe, but I'm looking for a sort of different texture today, which is why I have sliced the onions. But feel free to add diced onions if that's what you prefer. Now I'm just going to cook the onions on a medium heat till they soften and become translucent. This will take about 5 to 7 minutes. So be patient. Make sure you keep giving the onions a good mix and that they are not sticking or burning. And once you've cooked the onions for long enough, it's time to add in some minced garlic. And of course, give it all a good mix. Now ladies and gentlemen, there is something special about the smell of garlic frying in butter. Trust me, it is a heavenly smell. And now you want to cook the garlic till it's nice and golden brown. We want to extract the maximum flavor from the onions and the garlic. Anyway, once you fried that garlic and it's turning golden brown, in goes our ground beef. Now unfortunately I couldn't get my hands on 80-20 ground beef, so I'm just using some lean beef. This is not really a problem, but if you can get 80-20, nothing like it. Also, if you don't eat beef, you can do this recipe with any ground meat. Lamb, chicken, pork, anything will do. Anyway, make sure you give the beef a good mix and let it fry. You don't want the beef to clump up, you want to break it down. So sort of separate the meat as it cooks and you'll see you get little sort of granules of beef. You don't want clumps or meatballs, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, you can see what's happening in the pan. Now we're going to season the beef and I'm going to be seasoning it with some salt, some black pepper, some paprika and some cumin powder. And I'm also going to throw in a sprig of rosemary. And of course, rosemary is not a traditional herb used in chili con carne. But like I said, this is not an authentic version. I'm using rosemary because that's what I have at home. Normally, I would use fresh oregano and marjoram. These are the two herbs I would put in. But once again, if you've got rosemary at home, it's cool. Thyme will do as well. Dried oregano works too. Anyway, give that all a good mix. And now ladies and gentlemen, we are going to add in some tomato puree. Now you can use store-bought puree, you can use fresh tomatoes, no problem. I'm also going to add a beef stock cube. And I'm also going to add some water. Of course, alternatively, you can just add in some beef stock. And we're going to give it all a good mix, ladies and gentlemen. And we are now going to cook this with a lid on for about, I'd say 20 to 25 minutes at least, till all the flavors get married together. And it's going to be a strong marriage, ladies and gentlemen, one that doesn't end in divorce. Anyway, cover it and let it cook. And of course, after 10 minutes, don't forget to just open it up, give everything a good stir to make sure nothing is sticking, and let it continue cooking. Anyway, after about 20 minutes of cooking, my chili looks like it's done. But of course, always taste your chili. And now that I've tasted my chili and I think it's absolutely perfecto, well, I guess it is done. Now before serving my chili, I am going to take an avocado and I'm going to cut it with my knife all the way around. And as you can see, life is not perfect and neither is my avocado. There's a bit of a bruised section, but I'm just going to scoop that out with a spoon. Then I'm going to cut lengthwise along the avocado with my knife and use an even bigger spoon and scoop the avocado right out. Then I'm just going to season the avocado with a little bit of salt and a little bit of fresh lime juice. Just a few drops, not too much. Anyway, then I'm going to put the chili into a bowl and serve myself some delicious chili. I'm going to put my avocado slices on top of that. A dollop of sour cream, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah. And I'm going to finish it with some fresh coriander over the top. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Our chili con carne is ready. And it's going to make one tasty meal. So that was your lunch. And as I said before, it's not an authentic chili con carne. It's my version of it. Anyway, your snack is next. This is if you feel hungry, and as I've said before, ladies and gentlemen, eat only when hungry. So if you are full from lunch, don't force feed yourself. But if you are hungry, well, for a snack, you're going to have some delicious pan-fried mushrooms stuffed with cheese. So for this recipe, I'm going to be using 100 grams of just good old white mushrooms. You can of course use any mushrooms you like. I would recommend portobello mushrooms if you can get them. And now I'm just going to separate the mushroom stalk from the mushroom cap, and we are going to cook and eat the mushroom stalks as well because they are great. There's no need to throw them and they taste just like mushrooms. Anyway, once you've done that, it's time to move on. So I'm going to get my non-stick pan on the stove and I'm going to heat up a knob of butter. And as that butter starts to melt, I'm going to add in some minced garlic, about 1 or 2 cloves depending on how much you enjoy eating garlic. Anyway, give it all a good mix and let that garlic start to fry. And then I'm going to throw in the mushroom stalks along with the mushroom cap. And I'm going to season it with some salt and some black pepper. And now I'm going to give it all a good mix. And now you just want to cook this on a high heat, and the mushrooms will release all their liquid. Mushrooms generally tend to release a lot of water when they are cooked. So you now want to cook these mushrooms on a high heat till all that water dries up and the mushrooms start to get some color and they start to caramelize. And what we're doing here is cooking out all the water from the mushrooms, as mushrooms do tend to hold a lot of moisture. So the water will seep out of the mushrooms, it'll almost like deglaze the pan, it'll mix with the butter, the garlic, and then it will reduce, and all those flavors will sort of reduce down and like just get sucked into the mushroom, and you'll have a beautiful garlicky buttery mushroom. And yeah, and then we're going to stuff it with some cheese, and it's going to be amazing, guys. So just be patient, let those mushrooms cook, and well, once they are done, take them off the heat. I'm going to put the mushroom stalks in my plate and then the mushroom caps, and of course make sure you pour in all that garlic and butter from the pan. Don't waste any of that because it is delicious. And then I'm going to crumble in some feta cheese on the mushroom caps. Basically, I'm stuffing the mushroom cap with cheese, with feta cheese in my case, but once again you can use any cheese you like. And then I'm going to finish it off with some chopped basil, and once again you can use any herb you like. Another good option is parsley. If you don't like basil, you can sprinkle some parsley right over. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Our cheese stuffed sauteed mushrooms are ready, and this is a great keto snack. Alright folks, so that was your snack, and your final meal of the day is dinner. And what's on the menu? Well, you're going to be eating some delicious pan-fried salmon with some asparagus in a creamy lemon sauce. Oh yeah! So for this recipe, I am using some beautiful purple asparagus. Now asparagus is not very common in India and it is quite expensive. So for my Indian viewers, you can just use some green beans as a replacement. Now what you want to do is cut off the bottom part of the asparagus, which is quite woody. So what you want to do is just sort of press your knife starting from the bottom, and where it starts to get a little tender, cut it off there. That way you don't waste too much of it. So make sure you cut off the woody part of the asparagus, and you basically have, well, asparagus that you can now use. Now when shopping for asparagus, you want to look at the tip of the asparagus and it should ideally be closed. If it is opening, that means the asparagus is getting close to flowering. So you obviously want the ones which are closed. That is ideal. And of course, don't forget to wash your asparagus before cooking it. Now to cook the asparagus, I'm going to get my pan on the stove and I'm going to heat up a knob of butter. Once that butter has melted, I'm going to add in some minced garlic, because well, butter, garlic and asparagus, great combination. Anyway, cook the garlic till it starts to turn golden brown and then put in your asparagus. Now I'm going to season the asparagus with some salt and some black pepper. Give it a bit of a toss. And then I'm going to put in some water and just cover it and cook it for about 4 to 5 minutes. After about 4 to 5 minutes of cooking, the water will have evaporated. give the asparagus a good toss and let it caramelize. You want the asparagus to not only be tender but also have a little bit of color on it. Anyway, once your asparagus is done, remove it from the pan and set it aside. Now in the same pan, I'm going to add in some more butter, and as that butter melts, I'm going to take my salmon fillet, which is a skinless fillet. Of course, if you can get salmon with skin, nothing like it. And I'm going to season the fish on both sides with salt and pepper. And then in goes the salmon into your pan, into that melted butter. And now you just want to cook it for about 3 minutes on each side. Fish actually cooks very quickly, so just let it cook. You can baste it with that butter in the pan. And now remember, the pan is already seasoned with that garlic and butter, so there's a lot of flavor in here already. Anyway, cook the fish, and once it's done to your liking, remove it from the pan. And now it's time to make our sauce. So now I'm going to add in a little bit of chopped red onion. I'm going to add in some more butter into the pan, and I'm also going to add in some lemon zest into this. It's going to give it a lovely lemony flavor. I'm also going to throw in some capers, and then I'm going to squeeze in some lemon juice as well. And I'm also going to add some water. And now what we're doing is we're basically creating a delicious sauce from all the flavor that's already in the pan. Anyway, now I'm also going to add in some heavy whipping cream, and this is going to make our sauce delicious, creamy and rich. Now give it all a good mix, and if your sauce feels like it's too thick, you can add in a little bit of water to thin it out. So give it all a good mix, make sure it's the consistency you like. Taste it for seasoning, and mine needed a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And of course I finished it with some fresh parsley, and I gave it one final good mix, and my sauce was ready. Now to plate up, ladies and gentlemen, layer that asparagus on the bottom of the plate. Then on the asparagus goes our fish. And of course, once you've done that, you got to pour that sauce right over the fish. That lemony, creamy, buttery, delicious sauce. And finally, a little more fresh parsley to garnish. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our asparagus and salmon in a creamy lemon sauce. And of course, I could not let you go without just breaking into that fish, could I? And look how perfectly cooked it is. Anyway, enough jibber jabber, your dinner is ready. And that is your meal plan for the week, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you eat this every day for 7 days, and come back here and get the meal plan for week number 4 next week. Also, I'd love to hear from all of you. How many of you have been doing this meal plan, and what have your results been? Please leave me a comment below and let me know. I really want to hear from you guys. Also, don't forget to go to headbangerskitchen.com and read the blog post where I give you the shopping list, the food substitutions, and the serving size information. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all from me for this week. I will see you here, same time, same place next week. Till then, cheers and keep cooking. Hey folks, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to Headbangers Kitchen. If you like the show, you can also pick up a Headbangers Kitchen t-shirt. Link in the video description box just below this video. Or you could grab a copy of my brand new book, Keto Life. I'm also a musician. You can click here and listen to one of my songs, or watch another recipe video right here.